Hi, I'm Zoe and welcome to Zoe's Heavenly Creations. I'm a portrait artist, cook and cake maker. As a black Brit, I'm influenced by food from all over the world and that goes into my cooking, so you're in for a real treat. I'm going to show you how to make delicious recipes and showstopper cakes that will blow away your friends and family. So today we're making a lamb tagine. We're not going to do the couscous yet, we're going to do that after because it takes about 2 hours to cook. But it's going to be worth it, I promise you. So here we go. So we add some olive oil into a hot pan and then we take an onion. So we're going to use the mezzaluna and just chop away, that's it. We're just cooking, sweating down the onions so it goes a bit transparent when it's cooked. We get the anchovies and we take about 4 into the pestle and mortar. And what the anchovies will do is intensify the flavour. You won't taste the anchovies, you'll just taste the intense saltiness that it brings to the dish, and it intensifies all the flavours in the dish, and there's nothing else that can really do that but anchovies. So with a garlic crusher, chop the end of the garlic off and then pop it in the garlic crusher. You don't have to take the skin off. In with the anchovies. We've got 3 garlic cloves in. And with your pestle and your mortar, you just smash the anchovies into the garlic. The anchovies will dissolve into the dish anyway. The anchovies will dissolve into it. So here's the meat, which is 900 grams of lamb leg, diced. So you add it to your onions. And you add your seasoning. So you want 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika, 2 teaspoons of cumin powdered and 2 teaspoons of ginger. What you're doing now is you're just sealing in the meat. It smells amazing. All that cinnamon and those Moroccan spices, the cumin. So we're sealing all these flavours in. And then you add the garlic and anchovies out of the pestle and mortar. So just sealing all that lovely meat. Add a little bit more oil if you need to. Olive oil, that is. You'll see the lines defined on the lamb, and that means that it's quite well sealed because it's not cooked thoroughly, but it's just browned on the outside. Then you add in 2 tablespoons of capers. Turn the fire down, add half a can of chopped tomatoes. It's starting to simmer now. I just use a kitchen scissors, and you had about half a bag of apricots. It's up to you how many you put in. Just snip them in half and pop them in the pot. After the apricots, you add half a packet of dates. I like dates in savoury things. I'm not that keen on it as a snack, but I like it in savoury dishes. Okay, so now you add 2 tablespoons of honey, and this will again add a sweetness to the dish, so you'll get the saltiness with the sweet. It looks amazing. The lamb is glossy, the apricots are giving it lots of colour. So now we pour in about a mugful of red wine. And add the vegetable stock cube. And you give that all a good stir. And then you put the lid on, So we're going to put it in the oven on gas mark 3 or 160 degrees for 2 hours. Okay, so the tangine's nearly ready. It's just got another 10 minutes in the oven. So now is the time that we make the couscous. We get a red onion, medium-sized red onion. I hate chopping up onions because it makes me cry. So there'll be a few tears in a moment. Mozzarella, you just give it a chop with the mozzarella. It's, you know what, I'm not great at chopping. So it's just something that like chops things into small pieces. It's really handy to have. And it keeps your fingers safe as well. It's a time saver, a mozzarella. So we add a bit of oil, bit of olive oil. If you feel like the pan's a bit too hot, you can just pop it over onto the other ring, just to cool down a little bit while you chop up the garlic and the onion. So we want 3 cloves of garlic. And then just add the onion. You cook the onion and the garlic together. And you can add a bit more oil if you need to. And put it back onto the heat. So we want to get some flavour into our chickpeas. So you add half a can of chickpeas to the onion and garlic. And add a bit of salt and pepper. It's to get the onion and garlic flavour into the chickpeas. Because chickpeas are pretty plain flavour, but we want our couscous to be packed with flavour. Now you want to boil your kettle and put 1 cup of couscous into the chickpeas and garlic and onion mixture. This will feed 4. And the key to really, really good couscous, so that it's nice and fluffy and separated, is 2 times water to 1 part couscous. So you just throw in 2 cups more. You've put in 1 cup of couscous to 2 cups of hot water, boiling hot water. And then you add a stock cube. A vegetable stock cube, and you give it a stir. Give it a good stir. Okay, I believe that is done. So now you just put the lid on for about 10 minutes, and that's your couscous ready. So now the couscous has been sitting for 10 minutes, so it should be nice and fluffy now and ready for me to add my coriander and lemon juice. That is lovely. That is lovely couscous. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the juice of half a lemon and some coriander. I hold my hand like this to catch the pips because we don't want pips in our couscous. That would taste awful. So now, we take some coriander, washed of course, and we get our mezzaluna and we give it a chop. And you add it in, and then you give it a bit of a mix. You always add herbs in at the end of a recipe because then you get its flavour. That looks and smells amazing. So now let's go and check on the tagine. So the lamb tagine has been in the oven for 2 hours. So let's have a look and see how it's gone. Look at that. Succulent lamb. Look at that. I can smell cinnamon And I can smell the ginger. It's just divine. I can also smell the red wine. The flavours in this will blow your mind. That looks delicious. And you can serve this with a salad. But there you have it. That's your lamb tagine with chickpea couscous. Okay, so now we're going to make our showstopper chocolate cake. This is going to blow your mind. So we've got 50 grams of cocoa, and to the 50 grams of cocoa we add 6 tablespoons of hot water. We give that a good mix into a nice smooth paste. So you just put your paste in the mixer and you add all the ingredients in, which is 3 eggs, 300 grams of caster sugar, 175 grams of self-raising flour, 100 grams of soft baking margarine, 2 tablespoons of milk, and a heaped teaspoon of baking powder. Now I'm using this mixer, but if you don't have a mixer like this at home, you can use a hand mixer, or you can do the old-fashioned way, you can whisk it with your hand. You're looking for quite a runny consistency. It becomes light and airy. That's when you can see that it's ready. Because it's got baking powder in this recipe, you don't have to put too much air into the cake because the baking powder will naturally make the cake rise. So now I'm just scraping down the sides to get rid of any bits that may have not mixed together well. Now we're going to pour the batter into the tins. To evenly distribute it, I do a bit at a time into each tin. So once these are in the tins, I'm going to pop them in the oven. Now that the cake is in the oven, we're going to start with the decorations. And the first thing we're going to do is the chocolate choux. So you need 150 grams of chocolate polyp. This is a very good brand. And then you just pop 150 grams in. I'm doing it in the microwave, but you can do it bain-marie style. It's up to you what you prefer to do. So I'm going to pop it in the microwave for a total of 60 seconds, 20 seconds at a time. And between every 20 seconds, I will stir the 150 grams of chocolate callets. It's very important you do this because you don't want your chocolate to burn. And I'm just going to check the temperature with my thermometer. Yeah, you want it about between 40 and 42. So you just pour the chocolate into the toe part of the stiletto, and then you just start moving it around so that it covers the entire inside of the mold. You can get one of these molds from Amazon, and they're pretty good because they have sort of like a magnet that keeps it together. So now all you do is you just move the chocolate around to fill the entire mold, just to touch all the surfaces of the mold. Get it right up to the edge. It won't set until it's in the fridge, so it won't start to set for a while. You can work with it for a while. What I recommend for the heel is to just stab it a few times with something. You could use a kebab stick, or you could use your thermometer, and you just stab it a few times just to get rid of any air bubbles. And that's it. Then you pop it in the fridge for about 8 minutes, and then you repeat the process again. So your chocolate choux has been in the fridge for 8 minutes and you take it out. You don't want to go over 8 minutes really. 9 minutes at a push, but it will actually start to set and it'll be ruined. So you can see it's still quite runny in there. So you just want to build up a second layer and go around the choux again. And now it's completely covered and we put it back in the fridge for 4 hours. A cake always looks really professional when the board is covered, so that's what you're aiming for, a showstopper type cake. We just dust the table with icing sugar. I really like this Renshaw chocolate flavour ready to roll icing because it really does exactly what you want it to do. It's a wonderful ingredient to work with. And you just need it to soften it up away from the icing sugar that you've sprinkled on, because you don't want it to get white in it and you don't want it to dry out. So you wet your board with a pastry brush and then you roll out. And then you just cover the board. Okay, so now you just want to get rid of the edges. So you just use a smoother and you use it sort of like a knife. You just go around and it just cuts it off. So the cakes are now done and you just leave them, when you take them out of the oven, you leave them for about half an hour to cool down completely. 10 minutes in the tin, 20 minutes on a cooling rack. You can make up some chocolate buttercream or you can buy some. Either way, as long as it's a good quality one. Or if you prefer to make your own, make your own. So you just add an amount in the middle to stick the cake. And that's your first layer. So I'm doing the first layer of the buttercream. On the first layer, we're going to have 3 layers. It's going to be quite an indulgent cake. Death by chocolate. So this is our second layer. You can put more or less, depends on how much you've got to go, because you have to cover the cake as well. So you've got to make sure you've got enough to go in the layers and enough to cover the cake as well. Now I'm going to do the sides. You just use the palette knife and just put the buttercream on the sides. You're not looking for real smoothness at this stage because we're going to use the serration on it. So once the cake is completely covered in the chocolate buttercream, then you want a serrated edge. So you get the serrated edge and you just put it against the cake and you turn. So now you're going to serrate the top of the cake and you just put it halfway across the cake and then you just turn. And that's the top of the cake serrated. If you've got a little bit extra, you can always just go like that. And if you've got any lip, then you just come back again around the side and do some more just to get rid of your excess. So the chocolate choux has been in the fridge for 4 hours now. It's completely set and we're just going to dust it with some luster to just make it really pop now. This is metallic luster and it's specifically for painting on chocolate. So you want to look for that one. You don't want glitter, you don't want just the normal luster, you want the specific one, metallic luster. And then you just paint it on. It's just like a dusting over the chocolate. But it really sticks to the chocolate. You leave it half in the mould because chocolate will melt in your hands. So you leave it in the mold whilst you're doing it, and you do one side at a time. So you want to, you know, be very careful with this, because you don't want it to just get knocked over or something and you lose all your luster. So then you pop the other side back on and turn it upside down. And then you dust the other side. Okay, so now you just kind of, so you kind of like just try and get it out like this. And do any bits that have not been covered. So now, what you do is put your luster on the cake. So you just dip the brush in and just tap it over the cake. It will go on your board as well. So we're just gonna tap it over, and then we're gonna add another color. We're going for gold. We're having gold and blue, because I think that really works well together. So I'll just tap my brush. So then you add your ribbon. Now finally, you're going to put the chocolate choux on top of the cake to finish off your showstopper. Voila! It's been lovely cooking with you. I really enjoyed it. I hope you do try these recipes and you enjoy it as much as I do. Bye!